So, did you stay curious? Unsolved mysteries captivate our imaginations, blending curiosity, suspense and intrigue in ways that few other genres can. These mysteries often leave us grappling with more questions than answers, whether they be historical enigmas or more recent cases that continue to baffle experts. I invite viewers to take part in the investigation, to spark debate and speculation about what really happened. The allure of unsolved mysteries is the possibility that someone, somewhere holds the missing piece of the puzzle. So these are not just stories, these are a call to action. My first story concerns two young Dutch women, Kris Kremer, aged 21, and Lisanne Froone, aged 22. They had decided to go on a graduation trip, and on the 15th of March 2014 they took a flight from Amsterdam to Costa Rica. From there they moved on to Panama, where they spent some time learning some Spanish and enjoying the local food and drink along the coast. 2 weeks later, on the 29th of March, they headed over to the west side of the country, arriving in the town of Boquete. Boquete is a small town located in the mountains in the province of Chiriquí. It was a scenic location on the Caldera River, popular with Panama residents and tourists alike. During their time in Panama, they would be working as volunteers teaching children in the local school. But when they arrived, they were informed that the start of their job was delayed, and they would begin a week later. This allowed them an unexpected opportunity to explore the area around Boquete. There was a well-known and popular hike in the vicinity known as the El Pianista Trail, so named for its up and down path. The summit was approximately 8 kilometres from the town, and the start of the trail was a taxi ride away. Before departing on the morning of the 1st of April, the ladies had brunch with two Dutch men who they had befriended in Boquete. They had their food and then they set off. Their taxi driver was Leonardo Arturo Gonzalez, who incidentally died a year later under mysterious and strange circumstances. He stated that he dropped them off in the afternoon, but this is contradicted by evidence from the ladies' camera, which showed a timestamp suggesting it was around 11 a.m. The round trip for these two pretty fit young ladies would have taken between 5 and 6 hours. They planned on returning that day, so they had no camping equipment and only wore tank tops and shorts. They were headed for a place called the Mirador, or Lookout, which was kind of like the summit of the trail and sat on the line of the Continental Divide. The El Pianista Trail cut through some dense areas of woodlands that were locally known as cloud forests, due to the fact that at that altitude they literally sit inside the cloud layer, giving them an eerie, ghostly appearance. Now, the information from the camera would later reveal they reached the Mirador at about 1 p.m. They had taken a dog named Blue on the hike with them. He belonged to the family they were lodging with. The weather was good and presented no problems for the pair. However, something went horribly wrong, and this is where the unsolved mystery begins. Later that evening, Blue the dog returned home, but the ladies were not with him. This caused the locals in Boquete to become very concerned for their well-being. And this concern only worsened the following day when the ladies failed to show up for an appointment with a local tour guide. By this stage, the pair also appeared to have stopped texting their relatives, which they'd been doing on a pretty regular basis throughout their stay. On the 3rd of April, a search was initiated both on the ground and from the air. Hundreds of people would eventually join the search, both civilian and from local authorities. And the ladies' family members also managed to raise reward money of some $30,000 for information leading to the whereabouts of them. The parents also arrived in Panama on the 6th of April, along with police and detectives from the Netherlands to join the search, but no one found anything. 10 days later, authorities called off the official search, although the locals did keep going for a while. But as with most things like this, eventually all rescue efforts ceased, and it would be 10 weeks before anything else happened. On the 14th of June, a member of the local indigenous Ngobi tribe handed in Lisanne's blue backpack and some other belongings. She gave the items to police, saying they'd been found on the bank of a river near her village of Alto Romero. The backpack contained various items, including 2 bras, Froone's camera, and both of their mobile phones. A search was mounted once again in the area where the items were found, and Kris's jean shorts were eventually found about 1 mile upstream, but still no trace of the ladies themselves. There was a slight matter of disagreement as to how the shorts were found, with some reporting they were neatly folded on a rock, while others saying they were floating in the river. But after this, things took a much more sinister turn. Bone fragments started being found, around 33 in total in the space of 2 months. One of these was a piece of Lisanne's pelvis, and one of her boots was also found with her foot bones in it. Lisanne's bones, strangely, still had some skin attached, and I say strange because one might expect it to have decomposed in the local conditions. On the other hand, Kris's bones appeared to have been bleached. A pathologist would later state that there was no evidence of animal activity in terms of the bones, so no scrape marks, scratch marks or bite marks, and people's thoughts began to swing between some form of terrible accident and foul play. An examination of the phones determined that no less than 7 attempts were made to call emergency services between the 1st and the 3rd of April. All of these failed. After that, no calls were attempted, but the phones were powered on and off several times. The camera yielded further clues. The first photos taken on the 1st of April seemed to show the ladies in a happy mood, but as time wore on, the mood in the photos seemed to become a lot more sombre. The camera then remained unused between the 2nd and the 7th of April, but between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. on the 8th, over 90 photos were taken during the hours of darkness. And so the ladies had somehow met a terrible end, and many theories began to be put forward. First of these was that having taken a wrong turn at the Mirador, they headed into denser wilderness, where some form of fatal accident occurred. This was probably due to the terrain being much more difficult with deep ravines and steep cliffs. But the problem with this theory is that the trail from the Mirador back to Boquete is well marked, so people are asking, how did they take such a wrong turn? Foul play or murder has never been ruled out, nor has kidnapping. And later, rumours were circulating that a local tour guide had a hand in their demise. His online feedback was less than glowing, having been accused of openly flirting with and inappropriately touching women he was guiding. He was also the first person to discover some of the remains less than a mile from his own ranch. Further questions arose regarding the lack of the larger bones from their bodies. Where were they? This, combined with a missing photo on their camera, which appeared to have been deleted possibly from a computer rather than on the camera itself, would lead the locals to suspect a cover-up. Whatever happened, I'm not sure the full details will ever be known, and we can only end this sad story by sending our condolences to Kris and Lisanne's families. Such a terrible shame that 2 bright and promising lives were snuffed out at such a young age. They are remembered now in the locality simply as Las Chicas Holandeses. But on that note, I'll ask you to stay curious and stay safe. And thank you for watching.